Hey, what's up everybody? This is KG for John 7. Welcome to a brand new video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the top 10 RGV players for the third quarter. I'm also going to talk about a new category that I have, which is called the reserve list. And then I'm going to wrap it up naming our honorable mention in this video. So let's get down to it. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the reserve list. So I know we've had in the past couple of podcasts in the episode, we've had a top 10 RGV players for the first quarter and the second quarter. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the a new category that I feel that should be mentioned, and that's going to be the reserve list. And the reason why I have this reserve list is because I feel like there's some players that I think that are really good, especially when they're grinding it out in games, but they're currently just, adulting or doing some other stuff at the moment, but they're still in touch with the community. I don't think it's fair to not include them in the list and then they're still involved, and I do highly think of them as a great player, and I respect them enough that they can pull off wins, even with very little practice. Of course, when it comes to regionals and all that, they definitely have to put in the work. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about some players that I feel that are on the reserve list right now, and so that's the category I'm going to talk about first. And again, like I said, these players are great players. I just feel at the moment that because they're adulting, which means that they're working, stuff like that. They're doing the working, they're taking care of the family. I still feel like there's still a big part of the community in the RGV and Pokemon because they still chat when they can. They still keep in touch with the community in the RGV of South Texas. So I still kind of feel that they still want to be involved and they still want to go to tournaments when they can. But eventually, when work dies down or when they have some time off, you can definitely see them at the local tournaments or league cups or league challenges in the RGV. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about some of the players that I think are on the reserve list right now. The first player I'm going to mention is Orlando Pedraza. I think Orly's a great player. I think he definitely could be in the top 10. He has before, and just unfortunate that right now he's just currently working and, and great guy overall, but when he does play a game or two, he's not really, he is meta player, but he's more into the Urshifu control player. And speaking of that, I mean, we are going into a new rotation in April, a new format that might be a little bit more control heavy with the Pidgeot Snorlax build and the Tusk. So I feel like Orly will come back to it eventually when the new set comes out, and especially during the summer. But for now, I definitely put Orlando in the reserve list at the moment. The other player I'm going to talk about is also a very great player, made day 2 at San Antonio. Currently, he's up north working and making that cheddar, and that's going to be Dylan. Dylan is also a very good player, does play Guardy, does play... I was going to say Miraidon, no. The reason I said Miraidon is because every time we talk about decks, when Dylan was here, he's always talking about Miraidon, and he's like, I'm not playing that. I'm not playing that Energy Lotto. And it's kind of true, when you're trying to do the electric generator. So that's the only reason why I thought of Miraidon. But he does not play Miraidon. He does more Guardy. He does play Urshifu. And but mostly plays Guardy. So he's made day 2 of Guardy at San Antonio Regionals, and he's made a top cut at the Strongholds League Cup. So I definitely consider Dylan a great player still. And whenever he does come back, I feel that he won't just give you a dub that easy. You have to work for it. So I definitely put Dylan with all confidence in the reserve list until he comes back, and hopefully we get to see him anytime soon in the RGB. The other player that I want to put on the reserve list is also George. George is another player that still keeps in touch with the community, and currently he's working right now, but you can still definitely see him in the RGV chat. And when he does play, it's not going to be just a free dub. When he was here and when he did play a while back, he was rocking the Masquerado. He played Chimpao and I think Lost Box, I'm not sure, but he does play decks, and if you're going to get a win, it's not going to just be given to you. You have to earn it. So George is somebody else that's on the reserve list, and that's pretty much it. And overall, I mean, he does talk in the chats, and he's still very active in the community when he can, and currently he's working up north as well. And some of these guys, you got to remember that where they work, sometimes they don't have a league or they don't have tournaments. And if they do, it's maybe popping off like maybe once every 3 months. So, and then the last one, this is going to be controversial because he's a personal friend of mine. But the last one I'm going to put, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he'll awaken again like he did in the first quarter, is I'm going to go ahead and put Joel on the reserve list. And I know Joel has been in the top before, almost ranked number 3 or number 2 in the RGV. But I'm going to put Joel on the reserve list because that guy, when he shows up, he does well. But it's not enough to convince me to put him in the top 10 at the moment. And he may not like that, and it might be controversial to the community. But, Joel is honestly somebody I test with too, against Last Box Tina. And in fact, I decided to run Tina Last Box at league challenges or at tournaments because he's not there, so I'm not worried about the mirror. And I won a league challenge with it. So yeah, I currently put Joel in the reserve list until he decides to wake up, or he was supposed to go with us to the Corpus Christi League Cup, and I quote, laughing my ass off, didn't wake up in time, stuff like that. So, overall, guy's a great player. Somebody to test with, knows the game really well. He's just not going to give you a dub. So, I mean, the reserve list is just perfect for him until he decides to wake up like Snorlax, then we'll see if he comes back. I definitely think he will come back after, when rotation hits in April and a new format with Temporal Forces. So we'll see if he'll come back. But at one point when he was grinding it out in September or whatnot, first quarter, second quarter, I mean, the guy was putting in the wins and getting top cuts in San Antonio. So not sure about San Antonio. Yeah, San Antonio, he missed it by 1 in day 2. But overall, still think he's a great player. Just currently just not playing at the moment when, yeah. So those are my 4 players in the reserve list. And that's pretty much what I think about those 4 players. Highly regarded, just currently adulting at the moment, or in this case, Joel is just sleeping. Okay. All right. So let's move on. The next thing we're going to talk about is to the main point of this video, and that's going to be the top 10 RGB players. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start with number 10. And number 10, the top 10 RGB player for the third quarter, I decided to give that number 10 spot to Adrian Enriquez. And Adrian is overall just a pretty good player overall. He's from Edinburgh, and he rocks the Zard. Lately, he's been playing the Iron Valiant, but the man does top when he's supposed to, and real smart player overall. He comes from the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but he's been with us in the community in the RGB long enough that I consider him also part of the Pokemon. And he's just overall cool guy to be around with, just to talk about meta. Very smart about the game, and he does win when it's possible, and I know work availability, his work has made it very limited him to play, but overall, he's just a cool guy to be around with. He goes to Kaboom, he's going to Moonblast before. Usually he works on Saturdays from what I understand, but Sundays is his free time, so he tries to make out those tournaments, especially when he gets out at 5, when he works to make it to Kaboom. But overall, he rocks the Arvin Zard, plays it really well. He has won tournaments, and just cool guy to be around with. So I decided to give that number 10 spot to Adrian Rodriguez. We'll see what he does with it. Maybe I know he couldn't make it to the cups for Stronghold or Kaboom because just work, and I know he's going to school, but I feel like it's enough for me to warrant the number 10 spot because he also been active, and it's not going to be an easy dub to win against him. But overall, I think Adrian Enriquez is a great player, just overall a great guy, and he gets the number 10 spot. The number 9 spot, I'm going to give it to Leonardo Salinas. And this is not the Leo Rios. This is actually the shop owner of the Pocket. And Leo Salinas has putting in the grind. He's been going to cups. He's been going to challenges. He's been going to tournaments. Very supportive of the community. And congratulations to him for getting him for his shop, for his new shop in Mission, Texas, the Pocket. If you haven't been to the Pocket in Mission, Texas, they renovated it. I know they knocked down a wall, so it's much larger. They've expanded it, and they're dabbling into new card games like Magic the Gathering for Commander and and whatnot, and then Pokemon, of course. That's their main bread and butter, and Lorcana. So I highly suggest you check out the Pocket in Mission, Texas. But overall, Leonardo Salinas gets the number 9 spot. He rocks the Chimpao, and he's just going to keep you honest. You know, if you don't have the mana fee, he's gonna Water Shuriken with the Greninja. But I feel that Leonardo Salinas has earned the spot. He has been Zard players before. He's been Tinkerton players before. I've seen that matchup against Billy. But he's also won the league challenge before. So I feel like Leonardo Salinas has earned that spot for number 9. Overall, just a great guy, and he knows one deck really, really well. And that would be Shimpao. And Shimpao's looking kind of decent for the next rotation. So we'll see what he does with it and what interest he has with the deck. So maybe one day we can see him in the top 4 of the League Cup. Who knows, right? So overall, number 9 goes to Leonardo Salinas. The number 8 spot is going to go to a new player in the community. One that is honestly I'm very impressed with because this player has recently joined the community and comes from Harlingen, and they have their own group as well. And that number 8 spot's going to go to Tony. Tony, she's a Lost Box player, and Tina, and has stuck with the deck since day 1 when she's joined the game. But overall, playing against her and seeing some of the gameplay, I feel like Tony is, you know, a very up and rising player in a short amount of time joining the community, and is very consistent, very supportive of the community. Is pretty much everywhere. Has gone to Brownsville tournaments, has gone to I want to say Kaboom, has gone to Moonblast, I want to say, I think so, yeah, and has gone to Stronghold. So overall, Tony's just a good player overall, up and rising, makes some very good plays. And I feel that the number 8 spot to Tony is well deserved, and just overall, just a nice person to be around with. You know, the few times that I got to play her, I played her with Guardy, played her Lost Box, Tina Mare. In that case, at the Pocket, but that wasn't. To be fair, we didn't really have a game because she just kind of bricked, and I just got the donk on her. But when we played again, she did take a dub against me. So you know, if you're gonna play against Tony, it's not gonna be an easy dub. You're gonna have to work for it, you know. But overall, just an overall good player and a great addition to the community in the Pokemon RGV. So we're glad that Tony's with the community, and we'll see what Tony does with the number 8 spot. The number 7 spot, I purposely gave the number 7 spot to Lucky Rick, you know, and Ricky Villarreal from the McAllen area. So if you don't know about Ricky Villarreal, he's not really in the chats of the community, but he's a very supportive father to Blair, and Blair is I want to say a junior in the Pokemon community that rocks the Magnazone EX. And Rick, you know, I like Rick because Rick does spice it up with some of the meta builds. You know, he's not really one to get a cookie cutter build and just pilot the deck. He's always got to change something. And the reason why I gave the number 7 spot to Rick is because he caused a lot of hype at the Pocket. He got into finals in the Pocket. He did lose to Emilio, but he got in there with the most unique deck, and that was with Goldingo. But there was a little twist to it, and that twist is Chansey with the ability. I think it's Lucky Bonus. So what Chansey does is pretty much if Chansey is placed in the prizes, and you get a knockout, and Chansey is one of your prize, you put it on the bench automatically. There's a trigger you put on the bench, and you flip a coin. If you get heads, you take an additional prize on top of the prizes you get. So what Rick does is pretty much is that he's going to take 2 prizes, and then he's going to set up to where he's going to take all the other prizes for a game with the EX and try to. And, well, what happens if he doesn't have the Chanseys in the prizes? Well, he plays Peoria to put back the cards because Goldingo draws, you know, Goldingo draws a lot of cards. So at the end of the game, you know, he's rocking with like 20 or 30 cards. I mean, at this point, you might as well just play Tinkaton, right? And then what he's going to do is that he's just going to one-shot your EX, with especially Zard. Zard's very popular in the RGV. So he's going to one-shot your Zard. And then before he does that, he's going to purposely put his Chanseys in the prizes so that way he gets additional coin flips. So it was hype at the Pocket Cup because he took out 2 players with that cheese move. You know, one is Joel and one is Raymond from Brownsville. They were both playing Lost Box. So when he knocked out an EX, he got 2 heads and took 4 prizes in 1 knockout, you know, against 2 players. So it was crazy to see that. And I feel like the number lucky 7 spot goes to Rick for that reason. And Rick overall is just a player. He's won a league challenge before too. So Rick, and we talked around last week, and he's real happy that he's progressively getting better, and he just sticks with the game. And he may not be in the chats of the RGV or on social media, but you can always count on him to be at tournaments. And if he's running late, he'll make an effort to call. But overall, he's a very good asset to the community, and we do like his builds. Right now, the current build he's rocking is Charizard EX with Guardy. And that's not a bad build at all. It's controversial build because why not just get Pidgey out? But when you're tired of seeing Path to the Peak, hey, it's rotating anyways, right? But when you get tired of seeing Path to the Peak, he just wants to draw cards, so number 7 spot goes to Ricky Villarreal. Congratulations to him, and the Goldingo and the lucky bonus with Chansey. So number 7 goes to Rick. Number 6 goes to, I'm going to give this number 6 spot to Adrian Garcia, which is the cloth player. And Adrian is not on social media, and he's not in the chats, but he's very active in the community. He does go to a lot of local tournaments. You can always count him to be at Stronghold. You can always count to be at Kaboom, Moonblast. And I'll be honest with you, there's one deck you can always count on, and that's Cloth. And this is a perfect example of somebody out there, if you're trying to top or you're just trying to get better at a card game, especially Pokemon or any other card game, it's always best to just stick with one deck for a month or so and improve on it and know your matchups. And that's a perfect example of Adrian. Just the other day, I know when Adrian was playing a player and took the win, he confidently told the player that he knows all his matches with Cloth, especially Zard. So now whether he draws into it, or gets at the right moment, gets the right combination of cards, well, that's everybody, right? It is what it is. But Adrian will not give you an easy win. You're going to have to earn it, especially that Cloth is a good deck in a sense that it has very good price exchange, 2 for 1. It's a very good single price deck. I don't know how it's going to be post rotation or in the format, but definitely you can always count on Adrian with Cloth. And he's very supportive of the community. And pretty much if you want to play a very unique deck and take a win, or know your matchups and know your tendencies, then Adrian's somebody that you definitely want to play against to play a deck that is not popular. For every meta deck, there's probably like hundreds of meta decks players, right? But for every 100 players, there's probably one Cloth player. So, but I decided to give that spot to Adrian because he has won before, and he's gone to tournaments before, and he's very active. So we'll see what Adrian does with it. So congratulations to Adrian. I believe he represents Roots Cafe. And I believe Tony as well. Adrian Enriquez, no affiliation, just guy from Edinburgh. Leo Salinas, Team Pocket. And Tony, I believe, represents Cafe de Roots. I've seen her wear the shirt before. And Ricky Villalea, no affiliation, just proud father of Blair, And so pretty cool. All right, so number 5 spot, we're going to give it to, and I know this person's going to be quite happy to hear the great news because he's earned it, and I'm going to give the number 5 spot to Emilio. Emilio is from Team Pocket, and he's also a worker at Pocket, but Emilio has been working really hard to get into the top 10. He's always asking me like, hey, Kevin, top 10. Hey, Kevin, when am I going to be in the top 10? Hey, top 10, and I tell him, mijo, not yet, mijo. And we joke. I mean, he's an adult. He's a young adult, but, to us, he's a kid. So I decided to give Emilio the top 5 spot because overall, he is a decent player. If you're going to play against him, he's just not going to give you the win. You have to work for it. And he's also a winner of the Pocket League Cup with Tina, Lost Box. And in fact, that's what I played at the League Challenge to represent him because, hey, if Lost Box Tina works for him, then it's got to work for me, and it worked for Joel, right? So I did play it, and I did take the League Challenge win at the Pocket. So I decided to give that spot to the number 5 spot of Emilio. He's definitely earned it. He's definitely worked for it, and congratulations to him. But overall, he's just a great player. I know he plays a lot of other card games, and he also tops as well. So the guy knows what he's doing. And we'll see what he does with the number 5 spot. So congratulations to Emilio. The number 4 spot, I'm going to give this to Cesar. And Cesar's he's probably going to be quite shocked because he's like, why am I here? I haven't done well at all. Well, if you don't know about Cesar, Cesar's always hard on himself. He's just like, I hate when I draw. But you know what? I mean, the guy has produced results. And honestly, when you play against him, he's more of a Lost Box player, Lost Box Power player, Tina player. he's not going to give you the dub. I mean, you have to work for it. And Sesad's been very active in the community. Also, it's sad to say that we don't know how long Sesad's going to be in the RGV. He is going off to bigger and better things with his career, and that will come. You know, I think he'll be going off to Houston this summer. But until then, we're glad that he's still part of the community. Overall, just a great guy overall. And I decided to give the number 4 spot to Sesad. I really think highly of him, and I know he's always like beating himself up because he doesn't get the right draws and whatnot, but when he does have the right draws and whatnot, he does win. And I mean, the man knows what he's doing, so I still respect of him in that regard, and I still believe that number 4 spot belongs to Sesad. So in the top 10 RGV, it belongs to Sesad. Number 3 spot, I'm going to go ahead and give that to Leonardo Rios. Not Salinas. Hey, but Salinas is in the top 10, so don't worry. But I'm going to give that spot to Leonardo Rios. He's been kind of quiet lately, but he does still go to tournaments. I know he went to Cotton's tournament in the League Cup. Didn't quite top because we didn't get the kicker, but, you know, overall, the guy's just pretty much chilling right now because he's pretty much captain most of his cups and league challenges, but I do expect to see him around more because Lugia's coming back, baby, in the next format and rotation with the Chinchino. So yeah, so I feel that Mr. Lugia will return to a theater near you, and hey, that'd be a cool video, right? Mr. Lugia, you know, returning to a theater near you. That'd be a cool movie. Well, we already had that, right? Pokemon 2000. But anyways, so I feel like Leonardo Rios is definitely a top 3 player. I feel like, you know, it's not going to be easy to take a win. He plays Guardian really well. He plays Lugia really well. And Lugia is definitely coming back. I mean, it just won the Japanese a big tournament over there in the new format. So yeah, we'll see what Leo does, but definitely you can count on Mr. Lugia being back, and he has a number 3 spot. Number 2 spot, I'm going to go ahead and give that to the GOAT, Billy. Billy is the number 2 spot, and I know there's a lot of Billy lovers out there, and you know, and hey, Billy's number 1 in your all's hearts. That's awesome. But I decided to give the number 2 to the Billy. You know, Squawk's here, Squawk's good, and I'm definitely what's pretty cool right now is Billy's rocking that Tiki-Ton, and Tiki-Ton is such a crazy deck because it's the answer to Zard. It just one-shots big things, and yeah, I mean, I think we were testing the other day at Stronghold, and I was running Zard, and you know, I know him, and I'm like, okay, cool, he has like 3 cards, and then like he's like, oh, you know, I don't know the name of the attack. He's like, oh, I'm just going to swing big. And I'm like, how? Like, how'd you do that? And I saw his hand. He had like 30 cards. I'm like, how is that possible? Like, what did you do? You know, like, what is this nonsense pretty much? But yeah, you know, he just one-shot Zards. And the other day I sent him in the San Antonio chat a picture of the hammer from the circus was in town in Donna, and there's a ride that it's like a hammer that just goes up and down. And I saw that, and I got PTSD from Tiki-Ton. So overall, I decided to give the number 2 spot to Billy. And of course, number 1, I'm going to give that spot. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to give that number 1 spot to me. I feel like that spot belongs to me for this quarter. I've done really well at the league challenges. I've done well at league cups. Did well at Knoxville when I went 4-0, but you know, and then after that, we won't talk about the rest of it. But you know, it is what it is on that one. But I feel like I will give the number 1 spot to myself for this quarter. I've been going to tournaments. I've been doing really well, and you know, I'm just happy about my accomplishments of what I've done. So I think for this quarter, the number 1 spot goes to me at the moment. So we'll see if I keep it. You know, some people are just resting. Some people are playing right now. And, you know, I've been doing really well with the league challenges and cups and regionals. Got a crack up there. So, but I know I'm very close. So I plan to go into Orlando. I plan to go to Indy as well, and NIC in New Orleans. So we'll see what I do with it, and hopefully I make a deep run in one of those 3 tournaments, hopefully in all 3 tournaments to get enough points, and hopefully I can get more Worlds invites. So I'm halfway there, and we'll just see where I go with it. So yeah, so that's your top 10 players for the RGB. 10, Adrian Rodriguez. 9, Leo Salinas. 8, Tony. 7, Ricky Villarreal. 6, Adrian Garcia. 5, Emilio. 4, Cesar. 3, Leonardo Rios. 2, Billy, the Squawk. Number 1, Kevin. So those are the top 10 RGB players for the 3rd quarter from January, February, and March. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts below. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And with that being said, before we go, I got to mention my 3 honorable mentions. And first of all, first honorable mention goes to Moonblast's Tio, Uriel Alfado. We are very thankful that Uriel is taking one for the community and running the tournaments in Moonblast. Without him, there's no league challenges, no league cups. So we're very happy that Uriel has decided to run tournaments at Moonblast. And, you know, that's just more players to the community. Pretty cool. I've been to Moonblast and real nice people. I believe the owners, the two owners there, real nice people, and they've been very cordial with the Pokemon community. They've been very welcoming, and I feel that, you know, that they've done a good job, and Uriel's done a really good job running the tournaments there, and hopefully they get cups for the community. There's some pretty cool new people there that's gone through Moonblast that I met. One in particular, John Harris. John Harris is a Goldingo player, just got into the community, pretty much just started collecting cards like all of us and decided, hey, why not give Pokemon a try, the TCG? So without Moonblast, we probably wouldn't have gotten John or any new players. So shout out to Uriel and Moonblast, and hopefully we'll see where they go with this. Next honorable mention is going to be the Brownsville community and Cascade Games. Shout out to them. They also got their league going. Hopefully in a month or so of reporting, they get league challenges. So shout out to Marcos, shout out to Azied, and shout out to Jose Flores and OG. Happy for Cascade Games for finally getting their league, and shout out to Anthony, the shop owner. And we'll see where they go. So the honorable mention, Uriel, Cascade Games, and the Brownsville community. So overall, thank you very much for watching the video in the top 10 reserved lists and honorable mention. What do you guys think? Let me know in your comments below, and thanks for watching.